Picture this, a crystal-clear pond nestled in an ancient forest, where lotus flowers bloom and fish dart through sunlit waters like living jewels. This tranquil scene becomes the stage for one of the most profound lessons from the Panchatantra about the eternal battle between cunning and wisdom. In this peaceful ecosystem lived countless fish, their days filled with simple pleasures of swimming and feeding. Among them dwelt an old crab weathered by years of experience, his shell bearing the marks of countless seasons. Above them all, a crane stood motionless at the water's edge, his white feathers gleaming like fresh snow, his sharp eyes constantly scanning the depths below. But this crane harbored dark intentions beneath his serene exterior. As seasons passed and his hunting skills diminished with age, desperation crept into his heart. The swift fish easily evaded his increasingly clumsy attempts to catch them. Hunger gnawed at his belly and his pride refused to accept defeat. In this moment of crisis, the crane's mind turned to deception rather than honest effort. The cunning bird devised a masterful plan that would exploit the fish's trust and naivety. One morning, he stood at his usual spot but made no attempt to hunt. Instead, he assumed a pose of deep contemplation, his head bowed in apparent sorrow. When curious fish approached to investigate this unusual behavior, the crane sighed dramatically. "My dear friends," the crane began, his voice heavy with feigned emotion, "I bring terrible news that breaks my heart to share. I've overheard the villagers planning to drain this entire pond within 7 days. They need the water for their crops during this drought. All of you will perish when the water disappears." Panic rippled through the pond like disturbed water. Fish gathered in frightened schools, their scales shimmering with anxiety. The crane continued his deception with practiced skill, presenting himself as their savior rather than their predator. "However," he added with apparent reluctance, "I know of another pond deeper and more beautiful than this one, hidden in the mountains where humans never venture. The water there is so pure it reflects the stars even during daylight. I could carry you there one by one in my beak. It's the only way to save your lives." The desperate fish, blinded by fear and hope, readily agreed to this seemingly generous offer. They saw the crane as a divine messenger, sent by Providence to rescue them from certain death. One by one, they volunteered for the journey, trusting their lives to their supposed savior. But the crane's true destination was not a paradise pond. Instead, he flew to a nearby rock where he devoured each trusting fish before returning for the next victim. His deception worked flawlessly and his hunger was finally satisfied. The crane grew bold in his success, believing his intelligence superior to all other creatures in the pond. Days passed and the fish population dwindled rapidly. The old crab observed these disappearances with growing suspicion. Unlike the fish who acted on emotion and fear, the crab possessed the wisdom that comes from age and experience. He noticed that none of the transported fish ever returned with news of their safe arrival. When the crane approached him with the same story, the crab's ancient wisdom kicked in. Instead of immediate acceptance or rejection, he chose the path of verification. "Noble crane," the crab said respectfully, "your offer touches my heart deeply. But before I entrust my life to your care, might I see this wondrous pond you describe? Perhaps you could show it to me first, so I can prepare my heart for such beauty." The overconfident crane, drunk on his previous successes, agreed without suspicion. He grasped the crab gently in his beak and took flight toward his usual killing ground. But as they approached the rock littered with fish bones and scales, the crab's worst fears were confirmed. The evidence of the crane's treachery lay scattered like a macabre feast. In that moment, the crab's survival instincts and righteous anger converged. With lightning speed, he extended his powerful claws and clamped them around the crane's throat. The shocked bird tried to cry out, but the crab's grip tightened like divine justice itself. "You deceiver," the crab declared, his voice carrying the authority of truth. "You speak of saving lives while you've been taking them. Your cunning ends here, and your karma catches up with you now." The crane crashed to the ground, his neck broken by the crab's decisive action. The wise crustacean returned to the pond as its protector and truth-teller, warning the remaining creatures about the difference between genuine help and disguised predation. This timeless tale teaches us that true wisdom transcends mere cleverness. While the crane possessed cunning and intelligence, he lacked dharma and compassion. The crab embodied Buddhai, the higher wisdom that sees through illusion and maya. In our modern world, we encounter many cranes who offer false promises and easy solutions. The story reminds us to cultivate discernment, question apparent benefactors, and remember that sustainable success comes through righteous means, not deception.